Young and the Restless fans, we got to talk about today's episode. Tessa and Mariah are excited over ultrasound photo of the baby. Lauren accuses Phyllis of meddling, and Kyle and Victor conspire against Adam. Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS Soaps, both the young and the restless and the bold and the beautiful. This is your Young and the Restless recap for January 30th, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this episode. So we're over at Newman, and we see Nikki is worrying that the lovely equilibrium of the company will go straight to hell if Victor forces Adam's hand to return. Victor, he appreciates her thoughts. Now, Nikki thinks that he's shutting her down, but he said he's not. He has the situation in hand. Now, Nikki doesn't want him to make any enemies of Jack or Tucker either. However, Victor is absolutely confident that it's going to work out as is planned. Now, Nikki was like, okay, I hope so. And Victor needs to now discuss the break-in into their home in Chicago. And he knows Diane and Jack set Stark up. And Nikki nodded her head. And he asked, when were you going to tell me about that? Now, she is incensed and didn't think that there was anything that could be done about it. That they were careful not to implicate themselves. And, hey, she says she'll get her necklace back anyway. Now, she's just happy Stark is off the streets, but wishes Phyllis hadn't even called the man in the first place. And she's looking the other way at this point. Now, Victor is angry at Jack for taking a huge risk, but look like he gets over it too. So let's head over to Jabot, where we see Kyle is making a business call about the status reports Adam has been overseeing. Summer appears and he jumps while reading that file. And of course, him acting suspicious, she questions him and claims that he's looking for something boring. Now, she's suspicious, but then Daniel appears, so they take off. Now, over at Society, we see Nick and Victoria talking about watching Tucker squirm. And even nearby, Lauren and Michael are seated while Victoria tries to get her brother to spill what's going on his head. Nick brushes her off, claiming it's Victor. Now, Nick is tired of Victor dismissing his relationship with Sally. However, Victoria doesn't even see a future with Sally. Now, Nick, she says, is too good for her, and of course, Nick explodes. Now, he doesn't need it from her either. Now, Sally calls, and he learns Jill canceled her presentation. Nick disconnects and tells his sister what happened, and Nick wonders what's going on. Now, over at their own table, we see Lauren and Michael are still on cloud 9 after last night. They love meeting Trey and call his happiness with their son infectious. Phyllis appears and they force her to sit with them, though she don't want to impose. Now, she says she's terrible and can't catch a break with her kids. Lauren then asks if things are strained with her children, and of course, Phyllis reveals, yep, it is with both of them. Now, she's just trying to help out, whereas Michael thinks there's more to it, and she admits that she had an exploratory conversation with Newman Media about Daniel's platform. Now, Michael called it, you were just meddling. However, Phyllis calls it being protective. But of course, Phyllis just doesn't get it. Now, Michael says Diane's creating friction between her and her kids. Phyllis says, Diane ain't got nothing to do with this. She don't want to be lectured, and Lauren was like, you know what, that's too bad. And Phyllis says that she was just shopping the platform around. It had nothing to do with Diane. Now, Michael thinks any previous conflict would have intensified this current one. And Phyllis tells her friends about Daniel's art career not going well and how he took his frustrations out on his marriage and how he and Heather broke up. He's finally pulling himself together out of the mud, and she starts to cry a little bit and realize that she knows how to solve this problem. Michael and Lauren, of course, are cringing, knowing that this can't be good. Now, Phyllis is claiming that she's going to see Heather and ask her to give her kid another chance. Now, Lauren says, you're not honoring his boundaries. She disrespected him and overfunctioned. Now, Michael laughed, calling that a fancy word for meddling, and he accuses her of wanting to meddle in Daniel's personal life. Phyllis don't see it that way. She's telling Heather how good he's doing instead. Now, Lauren says that, you know what, you got a beautiful heart. He gets it. Michael doesn't. It'll backfire spectacularly, and Phyllis says, you know what, I'm going to see Heather in Portugal. And of course, Michael didn't like that. He started grimacing. So now we're over at Newman Media, and we see Audra revealing that she met with Tucker earlier. Now, of course, Nate is not happy to hear about that and wonders if she's working Tucker or working them both. Now, Audra reassures him, look, I want you to succeed. She was curious, though, as what Tucker's move was so she can keep him informed. And Nate was like, okay, and she says that his master plan was to get control of Jabot and put Ashley at the help and put Devon in charge of Chancellor Winters so he could work side by side with those he claims to love the most. But she did leave out that she was sexing him as well. Now, they thought that was very ambitious. And Audra says that she thought he was looking for collusion, but he's not. He just wants Daniel's project. Now, Nate finds that intriguing too, and he can see why Victor and Victoria find the power of being the boss intoxicating. And Audra was like, yeah, that looks good on you too, Nate. Boy, I tell you, Nate looked like he's going down a dark path. So over at Crimson Lights, Elena wanders in and finds Mariah and Tessa, and they show her Delphine's ultrasound photo. Now everyone is cooing about how cute it is, and the women notice, though, Elena is not looking too happy right now. And she admits that she doesn't trust Nate's new CEO, Audra Charles. And they know Audra, and Mariah thinks Elena has the right to be cautious of her because it's Noah's ex and their relationship was messy. And Elena isn't sure if that's that damning since they've all been through difficult relationships. Absolutely, all three of them at that table. Now, Elena thinks that Audra is stoking Nate's ambitions and he wouldn't cheat with her. He has some lust for power and has done things that he's not proud of. And Mariah realized that she's worried. Audra will help bring out Nate's dark side, according to her, and she urges her friend to talk to Nate about it. Elena doubts the drive for power ever went away, but it probably is going to get worse. So now over at Chancellor Park, Summer admits to Daniel that she has been feeling that Kyle is hiding something from her, which he is. And she hopes that she's wrong. They discuss her firing her mom and how worried Summer is that Phyllis is so rattled because of Diane's return. Daniel hopes that she reins it in, but he's not going to hold his breath when it comes to his mom. So back over at Newman, we see Kyle finding Victor in Victoria's office. Now, he found something very interesting to get Adam out of the company, and he smirks being so self-satisfied. Adam is treading water. He's not doing a great job, and Victor is glad to hear it. Wow. And wonders how they can take advantage. Now, across the way over at Newman Media, Victoria meets Nate in his office, and he fills her in on Omegasphere and how everyone is falling all over themselves to grab it up. Now, she appreciates his instinct, but is Nate sure that he want to provoke his own family? Well, Nate calls it business, quoting her, and she gets it. She trusts his instincts. If the opportunity to acquire it comes, Victoria supports it. And Nate says, well, there's a wrinkle. Tucker is snooping around Omegasphere too. But Nate has a strategy, and Victoria will take care of Tucker. So across the way, we go back over to Newman where we see Nick strolls in and tell his dad, Victor, that he doesn't like him intervening with Sally. And then Victor was like, stuff happens, son. Nick asked if he convinced Jill to stop the meeting with Sally. And of course, we all know he did, just like the dossier he prepared for you, Nick. So why wouldn't he call, of course, Jill after you opened your big old mouth to tell Victor this information? Okay, so there you have it, your Young and the Restless recap for Monday, January 30th, 2023. Stay tuned for the bold and the beautiful recap also for today. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.